I don't care about live chat, YouTube. Thank you. Let's see how many people show up. Had like 9 people in the last one. Yeah, you want to sort of, any point that's lowest is going to get hottest, so you can also pull it out and dip it in just the tip in the water and then put it back in so the rest of it stays hot. And it'll keep the, slow down the heating process of the tip. G'day Kenneth, how's it going? I got my friend Adric in the shop with me today. He's doing some education. Adric is working on a like a necklace pendant. He's going to do like an axe or a hammer or something. He's not quite sure yet. He's just going to see what happens. And I've been working on a like a latch, hook latch. So bolt that to the wall, and that'll look. I'll do another one of these, and that'll latch into it. It's got a nice little chisel twist pattern in it. Sort of got that medieval cottage sort of feel to it. You want to go at least orange. Yeah. So that'll work. And I'll give you a little bit more color. He's burning up, Cap.
Oh, where's the ammo?
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, sir.
It's, yesterday was the first day in 45 days straight that it has been lower than 30 degrees in Brisbane. That's Celsius. I'm not sure what that is in Freedom Height. It's been bloody hot, and the hot spell seems to have passed. It's still quite muggy and humid, but it's only like 27 degrees today Celsius, so we can be here. It's even had a bit of rain, so that's pretty cool. That's been a nice surprise. When I say a bit, I literally mean a bit. Like it'll rain for about 2 minutes, and then that's it. But hey, I'll take it. I'd almost forgotten what rain sounded like. So what we're getting Adric to do is he started out with square stock, and first of all he's isolated a sort of lump of that square stock at the end. I actually had a notebook. I'll grab it so you can see.
Down there.
Yeah, so he started with his bar stock, and he isolated over the edge of the anvil to get this sort of lump at the end. And now currently he's drawing all this back to thin it out, so he turns this into essentially this. Once he's done that, he can flatten out that end, and it'll look like that, and then he can shape it into the axe head. So it's a nice basic project, and being the responsible lad that he is, Adric has turned up and said, I want something that I'd be able to actually finish in a day. Because whenever I get people into my forge, they're like, hey, can I make a claymore? And they turn up in like flip-flops and shorts.
I got the shorts. You got the shorts on.
Yeah, focus on the fat part and work it forward. That's it, that's moving it. What I might just do for you here is that neck's looking a little bit weak.
Yeah, I'm worried about that.
Replenish it for you. Yeah, you've developed a crack, which means that neck's going to fall off. Unfortunately, that is...
GG, no root.
Yeah, that's sort of done.
Shit.
I'll get you back to this point though.
Alright. We blew it.
Whew. Keep the steel right though. Far out. Had some Okay, I'm gonna blast through this. That actually wouldn't have happened if you were using like a carbon steel. Because we're using just shitty mild steel. It's easy to move, but because that's kind of soft, and you can form cracks and things with it easily. Every time you hammer the steel, you're actually potentially weakening it more. If it's too cold, you really need it. If you're not hammering on it while it's orange or yellow, you're stressing. And when you get to thin points like that, it can cause cracks.
Oh yeah, steel cut somewhere.
Yeah.
It's drinkable back here.
Yeah. Where I keep my urine.
Temperature rising. We still have to get you a bit of an upgrade for your streaming setup.
Yeah, I know, right?
That's my jam.
You been streaming? What did you use? Like go through a GoPro or something?
No, just with my computer all set up.
Yeah. Normally I have a laptop set up so I can read the comments a bit easier and things like that, moderate and stuff as I go, but on a more inconvenient setup like this, I find that sticking a smartphone in the corner goes okay, but boy, it gets hot.
Even doing that, we could set you up just like if you have like a spare monitor or something, you could set up like a chat monitor just on the side.
Well, normally I just use my laptop.
Yeah.
Currently, at the moment, we're just using mild steel. Adric's using 10mm square, and I'm just using 6mm rounds to make my little latch hook. Because it's cheap, and it moves nice and easy.
Or I'll just bust it open on my phone.
Getting close. Maybe 1 or 2 more heats and I'll have it.
Yep.
Ooh, ouch. The forge is hot. Just so you know.
A little bit.
Lesson to the kids at home. The forge is hot. Don't burn your fingers. Who's that? Somebody else has joined.
That's me.
Oh, was it? Adric's actually over there on his phone watching the stream.
Yeah. I can just keep an eye on chat. Relay questions for you.
We should have somebody joining a well-known Australian blacksmith called Sam Towns.
Yeah, I've seen him.
Yeah, I follow his live streams, he follows mine. He's a good dude. I actually set him as a mod because he's so frequently in. But he's in Perth, so 2 hours to find out. How are we looking? I don't know. Draw this back a bit.
For a bit since moving into the new place.
You use Twitch?
Yeah, just with the internet and the new place.
Yep.
But I'm getting NBN back. Yeah, most of these games, video game devs. I want to do more game devs now in their streams. So I'm making the new one. I need to also get stuff to the point where I'm happy to start showing shit.
Adric is a video game developer. His most recent project is Think of the Children. Definitely check it out. It's on Steam and everywhere, isn't it? Everywhere. It's even on the Switch, Nintendo Switch.
It's nice to be getting some decent money.
Yeah, that must be feeling pretty good.
I think we've made about. Since the change and split between the same people.
Yeah.
So I think we've done about 100k on consoles now.
Nice.
$2 for that.
That's what you want to see. $2. $2 you didn't have.
I paid the rent. That's what it is.
Your rent is $2.
Yeah. I probably put that like $1,000 a month in my pocket. It's more than enough
For an indie. I'm trying to distance myself from the video game community as much as possible. But I've started to realise that it's just become, for years now, it's been a thing that you just don't touch early access games. You don't invest in them, you don't look at them, you don't pay attention to them. I'm still holding out a little bit of hope though, that later this year when Malevolence goes 1.0 and I leave the early access thing, it might make a little bit of money.
Yeah, you get a spike. Yeah.
The last spike was 30 grand. That was when it was released into early access, like it went straight into.
Yeah. You did like a Kickstarter.
I did. Which was also 30 grand.
Yeah.
But all that money went to development.
Yeah, so I was trying to bash out that 1.0. Like, as soon as you can.
Well, it's actually, it's with the beta team.
Yeah.
So it's ready to roll.
Hell yeah. Oh, Tinder.
Oh, we got a Tinder alert. Is that you, Kenneth, chasing Adric on Tinder? neaten it up a little bit should minimize chances of a crack. So what I was doing there is where we've isolated this piece, it's got quite a thin neck. So we've still got to draw back the taper across here. And so to avoid stress fractures happening, I've taken a round file and I've cleaned up those corners. That way any micro fractures that may have been in there should now be evened out, saving us a bit of future pain. So I'll isolate back from the rounding that I did, and then Adric will be back in the hot seat.
I'll try not to ruin it this time.
Oh man, if I had $1 for every project that I've done that to. As soon as when you're using mild steel or like Rio bar or anything like that, as soon as you start getting into that thinness, it's fucking hard not to get cracks. Also, if we switch out to a smaller hammer, it'll probably help too.
There's an awful, like, welcome to live chat. Remember to guard your privacy. Like, thing that just won't go away.
Yep.
I'm a grown man YouTube. I can look after myself. Leave me alone, Mum.
Got a future project to build a new set of tongs that's parallel jaw flat part tongs. So if you normally just have flat tongs, they open like that, so it's never parallel. And basically you can design them for one thickness of stock. Otherwise you just grip it with the front and the back of the thing. So I want tongs which actually will open and close parallel. That way I can use any thickness stock. But instead of 2-piece tongs, they're 3-piece tongs. A bit more complicated to do. And Sam Towns is actually sending me a monkey tool riveting set so that I can actually hot punch these rivets in, and it should allow me to make those tongs. That means any size flat bar will be fair game. While you're working with it so thin, you want to try and find a balance between as hot as you can get it without it being too hot. Because you'll burn through the neck. But at the same time, if it's too cold, you'll hammer through the neck. And it's hard. It's a feel thing. Temperature management in a coal forge is all about feel. Almost got it. That firework's really helping. want to flatten out that end nubbin into a blob, basically, and start shaping it. Now, this is where you kind of start trying to picture in your head the shape you want to get. Okay. The con is yours. Ooh. So what you want to do, technique-wise, switch you back to big orange. You want to lay it spine down, and you want to whale it diagonally like that.
Yep.
And basically just keep hitting dead center until it's flat.
Yep.
Only do it while it is like close to yellow.
Yep.
If it starts getting too close to red, it's just going to weaken it and you'll end up with more cracks.
Yep.
You can use that to balance it. Basically, it's angle can change, distance can change, height can change, and that lets you rest the piece in there at the right height. But basically, you just want that head hot. The rest of it can be hot too. It's fine, but it'll actually be better if the rest of it's a little hot, because then the neck is softer and it will be less prone to cracking. You're doing that, I might set up for lunch.
Yeah.
You hungry?
Yeah, I can eat.
That's getting it. This epic fucking gas cooker kit. Bunnings.
Yeah.
There's everything you could possibly need in one little thing. It's also a cooking live stream. We're having Kranskis, cheese Kranskis. Normally I cook on the forge, but since we're both using it today, it's a bit busy, so using a gas cooker. So now you can basically shape it into whatever you want. You could even do like round the corners on it and chisel in a rune if you wanted to. Like if you've never done hot chiseling, that's kind of fun.
Yeah, that'd be sick.
Put in a Futhark rune.
So I guess what I would be thinking for shape would just be like, you know, just beard it out.
Yeah, so kind of what you want to do in that case is see the hooks on the sides.
Yeah.
You want to hook it like that and then hit in. And it will want to try and bend on you, but you want to try and get in, and then you can straighten it out there.
Yeah.
And that will bring those sides down a little bit.
Yeah.
And once it'll start going this way. Another way you can do that is with the cross peen here. You hit like this, it pulls it out, or you can go like that, and it'll widen it, and that'll give you more hook. That's one way to do it.
Yeah.
Depends on the type of final shape you want to try and achieve.
So do you reckon use that instead? Then?
Well, even the sides of the forklift kind are rounded.
Yeah.
So I'd probably start there because it's a smaller radius than the horn.
Yeah.
But once you've actually drawn out the sides with the cross beam, you'll have much more room and then you can use the horn. Remember, once you start losing colour, your hits are going to start putting more strain on the neck.
Keep it hot.
Yeah, at least it's thin, so it doesn't take too long. You can add something more coal to it as well on this.
Thank you.
I want to hold my hands on it. And that'll help you build up that heat. Maybe another handful. Candy cane of usefulness. Careful you don't burn through it too, because it's quite thin.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Remember to try and match up the sides too.
Yeah. Or bend it off to one side.
Yeah, you want to make sure that neck stays hot too.
Yeah. She gonna crack.
Mm-hmm. Just means put it a little deeper in the fire.
Yeah.
Nice and deep black.
Get in there.
So these will be ready in a minute. So.
Alright. Just put this to the side and.
Yeah, that's right. And there's soap and such over there, unless you want to just have the charcoal dust.
That ain't gonna kill him.
Good for you. My head's on your chest.
I got too many of them at the moment.
Grab yourself a button. Rip it open like a wagon. Nothing beats a forge lunch. Yummy.
So you're going fully off the grid, or yeah?
Well, one of the places we're looking at is when we first get there, we're renting.
Yeah.
One of the places we're looking at is solar on water.
Mm.
Composting toilet.
I love my creature comforts too much. Give me that half of the grid.
It's funny, most people assume that composting toilets like you're just shitting in a bucket and emptying it out every so often. They don't smell at all. They're quite clean. They would surprise you.
I used to do driver reminder. And they had a composting toilet out the one that I would do it up because it was way out bush.
Mm-hmm.
I'll do midnight to 6 a.m. every Christmas Day. You get those truckies that are, you know, Christmas morning still delivering shit.
The unsung heroes.
To them, we were the unsung heroes.
Mm-hmm.
Giving them coffee, precious coffee. It was good fun just for the stories that you They're all crazy. Not that I should have cheese, as I recently discovered I'm lactose intolerant. I've developed it at some point.
Me too. But cream's people worth it.
Oh yeah.
I don't seem to be like hypersensitive to it, but it's definitely a noticeable effect. Gonna make my other latch.
Mm-hmm. Steal your shaft.
Still just you watching? Yeah.
I closed it.
Oh, did you? There's somebody watching. It's probably Kenneth. G'day, Kenneth. So what I'm making next is I've done this side of the hook. It goes to the wall, and then that goes into the other one of these. So I'm going to make another eyelet like this, and that will just hook into there and create the bond. Not the strongest lock in the world, but they're good for gates and holding doors open, stopping from blowing closed and such.
Now I realise this actually probably going to eat up all my data.
Yeah. Right, if you don't have my Wi-Fi password, so you can get all your Tinder requests and Grindr requests. Gonna message that guy about the Lego too, because that's it in the tub next to you there.
Yeah?
That's a lot. And technical.
Are you looking to sell it? Or
Sell the whole lot.
yeah.
I think I'm going to leave it on the handle until the last minute and see if that makes a difference when trying to shape the damn thing.
Mm.
I'll put on my hammer glove because I can already feel the hot spots. And anybody watching, feel free to support my my cause and my blacksmithing endeavours by supporting me on Ko-fi at ko-fi.com/Valhalla Ironworks. I normally have my little hand-drawn sign that you guys love to see, but I left it upstairs and I can't be bothered going to get it Because I'm lazy, like any good blacksmith. Yeah, it is Kenneth. Kenneth is still watching.
Lurking away.
Anybody watching this in post while it's not live, the coffee link will be in the description below, along with all my other links. And if you are really gung-ho about buying me a coffee right now, just check out my other videos, you'll see the link. People have actually been really good with supporting my coffee. They've been very humbled by how many people are willing to actually just throw money at them.
Oh, it's a good way to do it.
Do you get much support on Twitch?
When I was doing it, like when I was doing it almost every day, yeah. Like,
I was really inspired by that D&D group. They get so much money, contributions of stuff. Things that gets shown up in the videos, you know, it's like...
yeah. I'm more interested in the contributions, the community that goes around it.
Well, Sam Towns sent me his first ever Damascus knife.
Mm.
It's gorgeous, but it doesn't have a handle. So he wanted me to make a handle for it, and that way the knife is like half made by him, half made by me. It's like a collaboration knife.
Yeah.
It's a really cool idea. Intimidating, so don't want to fuck it up. That was a surprise look. You get some interesting Tinder experience.
No. It's a raven sitting at the edge of a pond throwing bread in, and as the fish come up to get it, it takes it back and it just keeps doing it.
Yeah.
Like, you fucking troll of a bird.
That's awesome.
Trolling fish.
Did you see the, I think I shared it a while back, the Cockney raven in England standing on a street corner going, "You alright, love? You alright, love?" as everyone walks past.
That's great.
Yeah.
I was one of like a couple just sitting on a bench. Comes and lands next to him. And it's like, oh, look at it. Wow, it's so beautiful. What a great bird. Oh, it's so majestic. And it's just like, fuck you.
I would definitely feed that bird.
Yeah.
Like, yes, I want to encourage this behaviour as much as possible. I could have been better prepared for this. Come on. Forgot that I wasn't using tongs. After doing a twist, you always want to immediately brush it really heavily.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you saw how much schmutz builds up on the outside of it. You then let that cool on the surface. It makes for a messy twist, and it's just impossible to get clean. So you do it while it's still hot. These are just $7 at Bunnings, by the way.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
How long until Bunnings has anvils?
They do have anvils.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Only 10 kilo, though.
Yeah.
Who is this? Hey, Yamez! How you doing? Yeah, Sam actually injured himself. He kind of took one for the team. He was using a pressure cooker at home, and it had been running for a while, so the water in there was actually hotter than 100 degrees, because that's what happens when water is able to be in that pressurized environment. And he noticed that the lid wasn't latched on correctly, and he went to adjust it, and the whole thing exploded on him, dousing his left hand all up his wrist and across his chest with scalding hot water. And he had to go to the emergency room, and, you know, may even have to have grafts. Hopefully not. But I've been making fun of him because he's a blacksmith, and of all of the things involving heat that he burns himself with, it's water. Not scalding oil, not steel, just water.
Of all the things that can go wrong in the forge, but no.
I had a rag.
Yeah, just on the chair.
Oh, cool. Well, I'm very glad you stopped by to see me, Yamez. Yeah, the poor guy, like, he's in the middle of this huge order too, and he can't forge. Like, you can't grip grip tongs in that hand. It's bandaged up and thick, and it's sort of, he's in that munted phase where he's not quite sure how, he hasn't recalibrated his brain to work with the bandaged hand. So everything's frustrating, and it hurts constantly because there's second-degree burns. So it's not good being Sam at the moment, poor guy. But he should be in. He's off at the specialist, the burn doctor. So he should drop by. I pushed my stream back later than I was going to, so that he would have a higher chance of being able to get there. But if he's held up in traffic or something, he may miss it. He should be in sometime very soon, though. G'day. How about I pronounce your name? Keotrophius? Thanks very much for popping by. Always pleasure to forge in front of everyone. Really, the best way to support Sam at the moment is to probably jump on and support him through coffee if you are able to wing him some financial support. Otherwise, he's still been putting out he's got that new series, the 5 Tips for Beginner Blacksmith. He's just put out a new video. Even with the burn and everything, he still got out and he made the video. So definitely go over to his channel and throw him a like and a subscription if you're not already, because he's monetized now. He's 1,000 subscribers, so any extra attention that video gets is fantastic. And for post, I will actually pop the link to that video and his channel into the description of this video once I finish it up. But yeah, go to his coffee is ko-fi.com, so coffee.com/Samtown's Bladesmith, and buy him a coffee. That'll cheer him up. Now I'm gonna knock the end of this off. Actually, no, I'm not. Aha. I'm going to put it through and heat the other end. I'm trying to do it that way. So what I'm working on today, I've got my mate Adric over here. He's been making a pendant. I've been making a hook latch. So you got one end that, you know, you screw into the wall. Then you've got this hook that's got a nice little chisel twist pattern in it. Or half chisel twist. And now I'm just doing another one of these that's going to go the other side, and that's what you'll latch the hook into. Nice hand forged. Once it's all the other parts done, I'm going to actually put the whole thing in, get it up to a nice black heat, and give it a boiled linseed finish, the traditional blacksmith finish. So we're kind of taking turns in the forge. But when I made the eye loop for the hook before, I actually cut the steel short to the that I needed, and actually shaping it into that eye loop was absolutely it was mental trying to get it done. So I'm leaving a lot of extra steel for better maneuverability while I bend it. We are in Brisbane, Australia, Keotrophius, right on the east coast of Australia. And definitely, Yamez, I definitely recommend sassing Sam about getting burned in a non-blacksmith fashion.
Is it Yamez? Or I've got to make the spells the same.
Yeah, Y-A-M-E-S.
It's not James.
Oh, right, no, he's Yamez. He's a blacksmith who runs a YouTube channel over in the States. He does great work, really good. He does live streams like me, just live streams. And really good content when we first get started. He explains things really thoroughly.
Yeah. My mate, his real name's James, but he just got sick of that.
Okay.
So he just goes James now.
Right.
Just trying to be a bit different.
North Carolina, that's right. That's where Yarmouth is, North Carolina. We actually get quite a few people from the States. Sam Towns actually gets Roy from Class and I will come into his channel quite a bit. Pop into his live stream. Great guy. So we're running the old hand crank coal forge here. My hand cranker is quite a vintage one that I reconditioned. And I'm going to be doing a live stream where I completely disassemble it and give it a, oh, okay, nickname. So what, is it nickname short for James, like Adric's friend who calls himself Yarmez? Or James? Yeah, okay.
It's the only thing more disgusting than your quench butt.
I call it the mank tank.
The mank tank. It's like old bong water. Like it's probably like
I'm
old
not sure.
bong water.
I think it's a tie between those two.
Which would you rather drink?
Yeah. Alright, this should bend a bit easier. Okay, so this is how it starts. We got a flat section here and a flat section here, which will have the holes drilled to mount to the wall. We got the twisted section in the middle, and that's going to be looped into this kind of eyelet. It's actually surprisingly difficult to get this shape. I was shocked at just how difficult it was. But keeping a handle on it, it's going to be a lot easier. Yeah, no worries, Yamez. Thanks for popping by, though. I always appreciate you coming into my streams. Oh, get texts. Yeah, it's. I keep getting the shape right, but then the eyelet will be off to one side. That's the trick. So, yeah, check back and you'll see the finished project, because we'll do the oil treatment and everything, and you'll get to see the camera fill up with fucking smoke as I put linseed oil onto it. So that should be fun. You can hear us coughing. Anyway, thanks for popping by, Yamez. Here we go. Hey, Vinny. It's because we're cheap, Chaotrophius. Anvil stands that are made of wood make a lot of sense because they actually absorb a lot of the impact. It helps deaden the sound, and especially like stumps. Or you can have fabricated ones that simulate what a stump does. It's basically taking energy that would normally bow it out like that from the shock of things going down and split it, and it refocuses it into a core. So a trunk of a tree does that with a heartwood in the center. This stand here actually does it with a steel rod through the center. My tool rack here for the hammers and tongs, I've got hammers across the top, tongs down the bottom. You can kind of see that there. The reason that that's made of wood is because I'm really cheap. One thing you'll find about blacksmiths is that they love making things for other people. They're terrible at making things for themselves.
Here's ya.
Hello.
There. My legs are different.
Don't worry, I've got it's not pointing at faces.
That's the beer, Ricky.
Oh, cool. You watching the stream? Oh, thank you. My wife just brought in my lovely handmade sign. So if you want to support the channel, coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks. Really helps me out. And thank you to everyone that has been supporting me. I know Kenneth's one of them. Kenneth is blacksmith approved. One coal-covered burnt thumbs up. How you been, Vinny? I'm going to try and soft bend this one. I'm going to bend it in the opposite direction. Not happening. This glove here is my, I call it my hotspot glove. Because I don't get a chance to blacksmith super regularly, especially during the summer, my hands don't get a chance to develop the calluses needed to be able to protect your hands. So you want as much skin touching a hammer handle as possible. If you're wearing gloves while using a hammer, it's kind of defeating the purpose because it's about the feel on your hand. So this glove that I built, shambled together, it keeps as much skin as possible exposed for control of the hammer, but it puts leather between my skin and the hammer handle in the hot spot areas where I'm most likely to get blisters. One day I'm going to be able to do this all day, every day, and the calluses will develop and I won't need this. But until then, this really helps. It means that I can blacksmith for longer without worrying about my hand tearing up. Just another one of my wacky inventions. Well, I've got two anvils there. I keep forgetting how to pronounce your name, man. I'm going to call you KO, because that's a lot easier. I've got two anvils. The anvil on the right, this one, that's a 20 kilo cast anvil, solid cast iron. It doesn't have any welded face on it. It's got a square horn, London pattern style. This one here, that is two railroad tracks side by side with forklift tying over the top of them and the end shaped into a nice round horn. And that's about 40 kilos. Basically, I wanted one anvil that's, you know, proper anvil with a nice rebound and all that sort of nonsense to be able to do the work I need to do. But sometimes you really need to just wail on something to reduce stock down. Something like this, like a 4-pound sledge or even bigger. And if you do that on a solid cast iron anvil, you've got a high likelihood that you're just going to crack it into two pieces. So I don't want that to happen to my anvil because I like my anvil. And so I've got this monstrosity, and with railroad track and forklift time, I could wail on that thing with a 12-pound sledgehammer and it's not going anywhere. It does sound terrible though, you can notice the difference. Real anvil, fake anvil. Enough to do your head in. But it's very useful. It's well made. It's made by a friend of mine called Lucas. He runs a place called what is it? Alpha Wolf Forge. And he hand makes them all. They're fantastic. This was a custom order from me. Usually he makes them with one railroad track. Mine's got two. I do need to fill the void in the middle with some sand and oil to deaden that clang a little bit. Though I'm not sure if the video would do it justice. G'day, Sam. I'm glad you made it. We were talking about you before.
Boy who lived.
Yeah, that's right. Boy who lived. So I've got here, you can see the twist in the middle of it. And I've got one eyelet pointing up, one eyelet pointing down. And what we need to do now is to form that into the twist here, which will form the other end of our hook, latch hook. And this is the part that really messed me up last time, so we'll see how I go. I think having the handle on it will really help. I'm going to switch out to a smaller hammer to get a little bit more delicacy with the blows. I'm hoping you got some good news at the doctor, Sam. Everyone here is rooting for you. Woo! That's a spicy meatball. Mid next week's pretty good, man. That's considering what happened, that's not a bad turnaround. I'm really glad to hear that, but having the skin removed, that should be fun. But skin grows back, unlike limbs. More heat. She needs more heat, Captain. We're almost there. I think I can finish that out with hammers. Whew, that's a hot forge today. So KO, I just sort of live stream when the mood takes me. I don't really have a regular schedule. Sam Towns, bladesmith, who I highly recommend that you follow if you don't already. He live streams on Saturdays. Me, it's sort of when projects happen. It's mainly because I'm too lazy to actually edit videos. So whenever I'm doing something that I want a video for, I just live stream it, and then people can watch back for the video. And my videos are particularly fun to watch while drinking a coffee, and you can support me on coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks and get me a coffee. Helps keep me awake for those late night live streams. Right now, however, it's about 2:30ish in the afternoon. Okay, so we've closed up the loop now. Just need to straighten out those feet. And that's pretty much good. I'll use a pair of scrolling tongs to achieve that. And then once I'm done with that, Adric will be able to get back to his pendant. You guys missed lunch. We got out a hot plate and cooked cheese kranskis. Both of us are lactose intolerant, but you know how it is with cheese kranskis. You don't turn them down. And one thing that goes really well with cheese kranskis is coffee, speaking of which. And really do jump in, coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks. Every bit helps. Blacksmiths, do it tough. Unless you're Alex Steele and have large corporate sponsorship, which I don't. As you can see. Handmade forge, handmade hammer rack. It's the coffees that count for me. So yeah, like I said, the next live stream I do is likely going to be actually tearing that blower apart and completely reconditioning the inside of it. So if you've ever wanted to see what's on the inside of a hand crank blower, be sure to subscribe so you can actually see that video when it comes out. far out. Yeah. Now these eyelets are surprisingly difficult to shape. I think more research is needed. There's got to be an easier way to achieve this odd shape. That'll help. We're almost there. Poor Adric's having to just sit there staring at me while I'm working.
No, I'm off with the fairies.
Off with the Norns, you mean? This is Valhalla I'm working.
That's true.
Off with the Tonta.
Yeah. It's like people always look at me and they're like, oh, you look... Like they start apologising. They're like, oh, you look so bored, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, I'm never bored because I always like... I drift off all the time. I'm rarely in this world.
You're like a cat.
Yeah.
Not quite here.
Yeah.
Not quite there.
And then it's a superposition.
That's right. Quantum superposition, Andrew.
Yeah.
And when people look at you, they collapse it into your
exactly.
Yeah. They can know where you are. They can know how fast you're going, but they can't know both.
Like, that's one thing, like, if you have a good imagination, like, you're never bored. Because you're always thinking of something.
I have, my main superpower is that I can write and compile code in my head.
Yeah.
That helps. It's a lame superpower.
I think my lame superpower is I'm really good at holding in weed.
Holding in what?
Weed.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can go a long time without peeing.
That can be useful.
It has been. Very.
It's being useful right now.
Like, I remember I did Boston to back to Brisbane. That was about 18 hours, I think, of flight. I drank like a litre of drinks before I got on the flight. And then I had 6 bourbon and cokes on the flight. And then I peed when I got back to Brisbane.
Jesus. That is a superhuman level.
Exactly. And people are like, oh, your kidney's going to explode. I'm like, yeah, they're fine. I've trained for them.
Anybody watching, what's your lame superpower? It's a question I actually like to ask people because it's like, everybody's got a superpower, it's not cool enough to make a movie or a comic book about.
Yeah.
So, first of all, what is your current lame superpower? And second of all, what would be the lame superpower you would choose? Mine, clean break poops, nothing but net. No wiping required.
Yeah, 0 wipe.
Yeah, that would be my lame superpower if I could choose one.
Because the thing is, like, there's so many times when you do a cleanup, but you're always going to wipe because you can never take it.
That's it.
Whereas if you knew.
Yeah, going there, you stride into that toilet with a man that's got confidence of knowing.
Especially for if you're out camping.
Yeah.
like not even just in the toilet, but like you're out camping in the bush, you can just drop trout at any point.
It's just, it would be so useful. This thing is a pain in my ball sack.
See, I also like to think, like, if you know what your current shit superpower is,
yeah,
who's your nemesis?
That's a good question. That's an excellent question. If anybody didn't hear that, Adric came up with a very valid point. If you know what your lame superpower is, who's your nemesis and why?
You've always got to have that juxtaposition.
See, probably my major lame superpower is that I have a very real-world version of Domino's superpower from the Marvel Universe.
Don't know what it is.
She's just insanely lucky. You know Deadpool 2?
Oh, right.
Domino's the chick with the afro?
Yeah.
Just, if somebody gets the jump on her and holds a gun to her head, that's the point where the gun jams.
Yeah.
Like, that sort of shit happens to me, but on a more realistic sort of level. I just turn up to places and say, yeah, I'm meant to be here. Oh, there's no reservation? Oh, there must have been a fuck-up. And people are like, oh, well, sorry, let me in. It's always been like that.
Yeah.
I just say yes to things. They're like, oh, are you on the list? Yep. And they let me in. Really strange, but it happens every time.
Well, it's the thing of like, if you act like you're meant to be there, no one.
Yeah, and to an extent that works for anybody. But there's certain places like government buildings and things where it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
But for me, somehow it works. I don't know why. Maybe it's like I look official or something, or I look serious. Maybe it's just my devil-may-care attitude, I don't know. But for some reason, I just never get questioned. I just can go anywhere. And
let's take this to the extreme. We'll go to the airport and see if you can walk through security.
See if I can just get on a flight.
Yeah.
Oh, there's clearly a problem with the computer. See, I've never wanted to push it too far, but then I find out, like I probably shouldn't say this on a live stream, but the mentor program at QT, the most hilarious fucking thing ever, because I wanted to catch up with an old boss, and he's a really important person now. Like, he's moved on to a different company, he's like a CIO or something, and he's never free, just never fucking free, he's so busy all the time. But of my old gambling industry days, he was one of the very few handful of people that I actually really liked. Really respected. So I wanted to catch up with him, say hi. And we tried scheduling this and that and all that sort of thing in between. It just could not work out of time. And so I noticed on LinkedIn that he was emceeing an event at QT. I didn't bother looking into it. I'm like, yeah, I'll just go. I didn't even know what it was about. I just wanted to see him. So I turn up and I find out that it's actually an alumni event for the QT School of Business. And there's all these like 50 and over people there in suits and everything, and I just rock up in jeans and a button-down shirt, it's kind of neat, casual.
Yeah.
And I just rock up, and I wasn't on the list, and so I'm like, oh yeah, I should be. I'm mates with the MC of the evening, and they're like, oh, you know John? And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually here to see him. And they're like, oh, absolutely, we'll just make you up a name badge. And they start going through this process of printing me up a name badge. And I'm just like, well, here now, might as well. And so I'm just waiting casually there. And then all these people are looking at me really strangely. But I thought, oh man, they're going to kick me out of this place because there's all these old people there. Like,
yeah.
Most of them are like 60 plus, to be honest. And eventually somebody comes up. And after 5 minutes of talking to him, I realized that he thinks that I'm some kind of wunderkind, that I'm actually some well-known alumni of the business school that managed to hit it big entrepreneurial style or something like that. And so he asked what I do, and at the time I was a game theory consultant, and doing behavioral psychology stuff for business. and it just happens to be a very fascinating field. So I'm talking to him about what I do, and because he's finding it really impressive, he's like, you absolutely have to meet such and such, and he brings over this person, and I had this crowd around me, and I'm sort of telling him about the intricacies of behavioural psychology and the business environment and all that sort of thing. Everyone thinks that it's just validating what they had already been making assumptions about.
Yeah.
And afterwards, like I don't even know the terminology, it's not the dean, chancellor, something of the university happened to be there. And they're like, you absolutely have to meet our economics professor and do a guest lecture for them. And so I'm like, all right, sure. And so I'm lecturing this class of like 180 students on game theory like 2 weeks later. And the woman who runs the class, Radical Ahiri, her name is, thought it was just brilliant. And you've got to meet Angela, who's the head of the mentoring, career mentor thing. And Angela emails me, she goes, would you take on a mentee? And I'm like, why not take on two? Fuck it. I got the time. And I did. And now I've had like 20 mentees through there across marketing. Because they're like, oh, we haven't got any in economics. And I'm like, that's all right. I do a few other things. You know, I did software development. Oh, we got that. Yeah, cool. I've done marketing and animation. And, oh, we got that. Now we've got a biomedical engineering students. And I just won Mentor of the Year award. It's hanging upstairs. I've never been to university.
Yeah.
I have no qualifications whatsoever. I just turn up and people do things. It's just, I've been seeing how far it goes, and I've been going into like talking with politicians about their campaigns. I've been asked to give talks and be on panels and all that sort of thing about anything, because if it's something that I vaguely have an interest in, I'm like, yeah, sure, fuck it, I'll do it. And people take that as, yes, I am qualified to be there, I'll definitely show up. And I just go there and give my 2 cents. I don't give a fuck what the status quo is. I don't care what people's opinions are or whether or not even what I'm saying is right. I just say it, and people just, yeah, all right, cool, let him in. And I say it with such confidence that, like, well, fucking I'll take that as read. Yep. But now I've got these students that are like, you know what? Because I'm telling people to, like, go into interviews and essentially like own the place, like really don't shake their hand, just bump them, assert dominance, that sort of thing. Yeah. And they're doing it, and they're calling me up and like, I got the job. And that just makes them do reports back to the school, and they have to fill out their mentoring report, and it just makes me look better. And I'm just telling people to give 0 fucks, basically. Yeah. And it's working. And it's my lame superpower, man. Behold. The real life domino.
I love that book of Subtle
Art of Not Giving a Fuck. Yeah, that's a great book. I actually
specifically only as an audio book.
Really?
I don't want to actually read it.
Oh, okay. I read
because
the book.
Just hearing him reading it to you is just so much better.
If you like that book, pick up a book called The Sociopath's Guide to Getting Ahead. Mm. It's like the natural successor to it.
Yeah.
That's your fire, by the way. Give some more coal. It's like if you really want to push it to a level of really getting ahead in life, in the corporate world, basically, that's the book. That's the one. I'll clean up my mess that I left at work.
That would involve doing a shit about the corporate world.
Yeah, well, that's it. I was part of it for so long. It was knowing it as well as I did that allowed me to be able to just walk into places, you know?
Yeah.
But like 90% of a career success I've found is just saying yes and turning up.
Yeah.
The rest of it's all just fucking fairy dust.
Alright, so this has gotten jacked off to the side.
Yeah, so you want to have a nice hot neck, and with light taps you want to bring it over.
Yep.
And then start doing what you did on this side, on that side.
Yep. Alright.
I'm going to finish the grind shape on this.
Good luck, soldier.
That'll be 2 seconds. Like it's a little job. How are we doing in the audience? All right. Thank Kenneth. Thanks for popping by. And thanks, Ko. Throw us a subscribe if you haven't already, and there'll be more of these. Ooh, that's some heat.
Batch.
When you're hammering flat, make sure there's not an arch underneath it. So
Yeah.
see that there's an arch underneath it?
Yep.
And you flip it that way and put it down so there's less of an arch.
Yep.
Stacy's mom has got it going on. Smoke?
Yeah.
What do you need? You need safety bars, is what you need.
I mean, that's what I do need. How did I get to? But.
Safety first, kids at home.
That would be what the smart person does.
try to find a meme that you haven't seen. Finally send it to you. Heck, you saw it months ago. Before it even existed. You meme loving folk.
Alright, so.
Where do you see yourself going? You want to chisel a rune into it?
Yeah, I guess.
Rounding out those edges a bit. Okay, that one's pretty straightforward. Switch to a smaller hammer.
Yep.
So we'll swap this one out for a little 1 pounder. And essentially what you're going to be doing is you bend it back like so. Bang, bang, bang. Bang, bang, bang. Same thing here. You might put opposite corner down on the anvil.
Yep.
And that's use a smaller hammer because it won't take too much force. Alright, so the finished product. I just got to put the boiled linseed oil finish. We've got the latch here freely hanging, and that will hook happily into there. Little holes put on there so that it can mount, screw mount to walls. Got a nice chisel twist pattern in there, and same on these hooks as well. It's all twisted up. The blacksmith linseed oil finish goes on and it'll be ready to go. This will be up on Etsy for sale.
Alright, I think we can hold this. So, what if we round it all out, so chisel root in the middle, and I guess tap it with the thread.
Well, you can either put a hole through the neck that you put on there,
yep.
or we can cut the neck off and curl it around a loop, and you can run like a chain or whatever. That part's entirely up to you.
Right, so
You've left enough meat there that you could put drill a hole through it pretty easily.
so I just
That's it. Doesn't take much. On the top. Yeah, there you go. So you do opposite diagonals. And just keep working it like that until you get the shape that you want. And eventually you'll be able to start like rolling it around rather than just doing diagonals. You just always try to get opposites, basically.
put a T-Waz on it. My go-to.
Not an Algiers with either side of it?
That's your baby.
The irony is, of course, that they are elder tree cut runes, which is why continue.
Yep. They're easy.
They are.
Translate to English. That's much more correlation. Might have just melted our shirt a little bit.
That's how it works.
Ah, it's all good. The problem is all my clothes are now way looser.
Yeah, so they hang off.
They flail about.
For those playing the home game, this is what I've made here. So, got that. Normally you'd have one side on a wall, one side on a gate, or vice versa. Nice little latch hook, all forged out. Little chisel twist in the metal. Came out pretty nice. Marvelous.
Hell yeah.
Such high-tech technology there. So Adric is making a pendant, essentially. It's essentially just going to be a disc of metal with a little eyelet on the top, and we're going to chisel in a rune, a Viking rune.
Oh, man.
Unfortunately, Adric doesn't get to forge as often as me, so
I'm weak.
his hammer arm's a little slow.
Give me a barbell and a gym and I'll do good. But...
Hey, Aaron, how you doing? Yeah, I'm pretty happy with the latch hook. Those eyelets on the side, though, I need to do a bit more research to actually work out how to forge them in an easier fashion, because I got them working, they came out alright, but boy, was that a lot more work than I was expecting to get that shape. It's just a weird shape. I hadn't actually ever considered doing that sort of spiral. To be honest, I think it would work better if I just did it as a spiral and then bent up the hooks. That might be a way to do it. Maybe I'll do that next time. Yeah, work that crank, boy. Blacksmith, it's the best gym membership money can buy.
I think I want to make it a bit thinner. A bit of a chonker at the moment. Starting to get nice and round. Probably needs loose up heels. Get a bit thinner in the heels.
To be honest though, having a forged steel pendant around your neck, you kind of want to feel like it's forged steel.
Yeah, just look out. It's very thick though.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on taste, really. If you're going to be flattening it out, you want to switch to a chunkier hammer.
Yeah.
So, 2.5 pounds, that'll make a man out of you. This has a different side on each face. You want to use a flat one and not the round one.
Yep. I'll probably have to start trying to finish this up soon.
What was that, sorry?
I'll probably have to finish it up in the not too distant future. What's the time now?
3/16.
Yeah. Taken off at 5.
So remember, don't put a bridge under that neck, otherwise you'll also keep the neck hanging off the anvil. Like that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm an old weary man.
Get the hammer up higher and it'll do the work for you.
Yeah.
That way, you're tiring because you're forcing the hammer down.
Yeah, yeah.
If you spend all your energy lifting the hammer up, it'll work a lot better for it. Yeah, that's right. I love hand crank blowers. Yeah, electric blowers have their place, and even I've used them from time to time, especially when you're going to try and do a forge weld. But you can't beat hand crank for control over your fire, and plus it's a better workout, really. There's something cool about doing it all by hand. You know, no electricity. Says the man who just ran off to the side to use a drill press to punch some holes. Get better rebound on the other angle too.
Oh, yeah.
But that is thinning out.
Yeah. That's probably actually at the point that...
You happy with that?
I'm pretty happy with that.
Alright, we'll switch back to your small hammer and focus on that rounding. It'll actually be easier now that it's thinner.
Mm.
So what sort of projects have you guys been working on? I know what Sam's been working on. Yeah, I bet. Is there another scorcher there today, Sam?
I realise if I was any kind of... If I was a monster in D&D, I would be a sweat element.
Ooh, geez, I don't envy you, Sam. 27 and 47% at the moment, and we had some rain earlier. Not much, it's a little. I'll take a little. But, geez, that's a good trade though. Fillet knife for a crank blower, especially if it was a better blower than mine, because mine's terrible. That's doing it.
Oh, my hand. I don't know if it's the cranking or the hammering.
I don't know. Like, I at any point, if you want me to do a thing for you because you are worried of personal injury, just let me do it.
Oh, you're more than welcome to show me your masterful ways.
No, it's just all it is tolerance.
Yeah. I need that thumb.
A lot of people you see when they use hammers, they'll do this as well when they're swinging them, and that's a surefire way to get tendonitis.
Yeah.
You want to just have that loose grip where you're really only holding it with your thumb and index finger, and this is just for control of it. And you just bring it down and spend all your time lifting it.
Definitely getting tendonitis in that thumb. when I fly down to visit you in Tassie, I'll be a master smith by then.
Alright, at least you'll have a forge and a hammer. Not the greatest forge and not the greatest hammer, but I started with a stainless steel bucket that had, they call it termite now. It's just plaster of Paris and sand lining the sides and a hole down the middle.
Yeah.
And a hole in the side that fed in a blower. And I actually had this crank blower from the start because I found it at a flea market.
Yeah.
But hairdryer works just fine. Like really, just a cheap, nasty fucking hairdryer. Because even the basic ones usually have like 3 settings.
Yeah.
Got a little bit of stress fracturing around that neck. So
yeah.
I just want to see if I can clean that up. Really, you don't need the neck. We could punch a hole through the top of it.
That's what I was thinking.
But I'll see if I can do something while it's hot. Oh.
Yeah, should not have done gym last night.
If this was going to be under any stress of some kind, I'd say you have a problem, but to be honest, it's pendant, so it won't.
Yeah.
I think it'll be okay. Yeah, that's it. Hammer technique is one of those things that most beginner smiths learn the hard way. I know I was one of them. But he'll get there. This is only, what, your 3rd ever time forging? So he does pretty well considering. What Adric is making is a pendant. He's basically forming this disc of steel. We're going to hot chisel a rune into it. At the moment, I'm just isolating this neck for him because it's a little bit cracky, a little bit stressed from the forging. It's just like a practice. I'm going to cut this off, flatten it out perpendicular to the face, and then we'll punch a hole through it and you can actually thread it as a necklace. Should be good, but bear with me, I'm just going to go cut off this neck. That's right, decapitate the pendant. Yeah, so Tyrenius in the chat is Adric sitting off to the side of the camera here.
Hello.
Yeah, that's right. You'll tire much faster if you use your wrist while hammering. It's best to just sort of keep a loose grip with your index finger and thumb. Use these fingers more of guidance for it. And then focus on lifting the hammer and letting the weight of that hammer come down. Just guide it with your arm. And you don't get as much shock because people tend to hammer grip, ironically hammer grip, really tight there, and the shock of the blow just goes straight into your wrist. So you just sort of let it flick and really use your shoulder and your elbow to get the flick that you need. So we have a much more manageable piece here now that Adric's forged out. I've just planished it for him so it's nice and smooth. We've cut off this head and I'm going to flatten it this way so that we've got some meat to be able to drill a hole through that he can thread some leather thonging or something.
I love a good bit of a thonging.
That's right, who doesn't?
Something I actually found at the gym is that I've got really weak wrists. It's definitely an area I'm trying to improve, like, all around. Anyway.
I'm not careful, I'm going to lose this in the fire because it's so small.
Sam asks, are you going to do that well today?
No, I ran out of time, Sam. I was doing that latch and I found the eyelets on it a little bit more complicated than I thought. So what was supposed to be like a half an hour job turned into like a 3-hour job. But I learned a lot, so the next one will be half an hour at least. But now the weather's turned, you'll see me in here a little bit more often.
What's up?
It's just, fire's getting a bit cool, and I don't really want to add more charcoal to it since we're almost done.
Sam says, I warned you.
Yeah. Sam always warns me. Sam's full of fantastic advice, and I'm really, really good at forgetting to take that advice. And then I learn the hard way, and then Sam mocks me. It's just like this cycle. Yeah.
That's the best way we learn, though. Get told not to do a thing, do the thing, and then understand why we were told not to do it.
One might say that Sam likes to put me under pressure.
Pushing down on me, pressing down on you, no better.
Okay, if we hammer on that much more, it's going to crack a lack.
Yep.
So, what we can do now is we can use these tongs.
Yep.
Grab that, like so. Get rid of these. And we'll use these to do the hot chisel.
Mm.
So I'll just clean up the face of it. Now, this is going to be a tricky dance. No, I'm using a lump charcoal forge, Aaron, so there's no clinker develops. Yeah, I'm a stubborn asshole. I've been called worse things, Sam.
What's a clinker?
Clinker is sort of like a weird, hard carbon alloy that builds up right around the edges of where the airflow comes in coal and coke forges. Basically, it sort of just creates this donut that actually ends up slowly constricting the airflow until you don't get any. So you've got to either break it up using a clinker breaker, or actually hook it and pull it out of the fire if you don't have a clinker breaker. But I use hardened lump charcoal, so the build-ups that I get are just ash, just wood ash. Right, so I have here a tong clip.
Yep.
Goes over one side, clicks closed on the other side, and now it holds the tongs closed.
Beautiful.
Which allows you to hold it between your legs like that. However, it's going to be a little trickier because I might actually hold it for you so you don't have to do that.
Yep.
What you want to do is grab your hammer. We'll start with a smaller chisel. And so I'll put it there for you on the anvil, and you'll come around here and with your left hand you'll hold the chisel, and you'll chisel out what you're going to actually do. Now, use this. Most of this will disappear under the heat, but use this chalk pencil to draw it on there. Because remember, he's upside down too, so I'll put that's the right way up. So, use a corner of it, it will work a lot better. So, don't touch it, it's still going to be hot.
Nice little.
Nice and simple.
Yep, nice little two ways.
So what we're probably going to do is punch this one, this, and this one with this, and I'll get the bigger chisel and you can punch the middle one.
Yep. Beautiful.
So it's decisive blows, but it's not like you're trying to thin out material or anything. This will cut through pretty easily.
Yep. Try not to kill you. What
you can do is we'll do it while it's still coldish, and do some light chisel work. You can test it out. So. Well, stop. See how it bounces? You want to make sure that it's actually okay. So, whoops. Well, I just punish that out. Really like to do it. Pick it up, line it up again. Because when you do it for realsies, it'll be hot. It'll sink in a lot further. Yeah. Realsies.
cold first, then deepen up the heat. Mark it cold, raise it, easier. That's what chat's saying.
I didn't hear any of what you said.
Oh, just saying exactly what you said. Mark it cold. And then deepen it when it's hot.
You forgot one step. You've got to planish out the mistakes that you make because it's the first time you're chiseling.
Yeah. Except that your apprentice is garbage, and you have to quickly fix their mistakes.
Adric got here a little late, so he didn't see the chisel twist that I did before he got here. What's Sam saying?
Let me get my candy in. Hit and check, and then he says 2 plus for your own, because they basically said the same thing.
Yeah. Because I'm cheap and I don't add coal because we're near the end.
That's my favourite part of smithing. When you're done, right at the end, and you go and have a shower, and you blow out all those big...
Black snot.
Yeah, those massive snot. Black snot. That's just satisfying. So.
Most of that'll come out in the grind.
You've just got some nice wool scratches in there.
That's right. Ah, it's a brave man that farts near a forge. I'm planishing, Sam. This is for... There's also... Adric has kindly put a giant crack in the neck, and I really don't want to put too much stress on it. Alright, so... We've already thrown away one piece while you were away. Okay, so... Hit and check.
Hit and check.
One good tap. And then reposition.
So do I want to keep going
I'm going to keep going on that one because the front of the chisel is curved. That's good. Now the other side. More or less. Now the middle. One more.
Down.
Yep, a little bit more length. Okay.
That's about right.
So, I don't know if you can see this. See if I can get some light on it. There you go. It's like an up arrow. So now we'll get it hot, do it for reals.
Telling people which way my face is. Stop looking at my beautiful chest.
That's right. It's the,
my eyes are up
my
here.
eyes are up here, boys.
Stop looking at the dick.
Because we're just using mild steel, this is going to hold a lot more heat than you think. So, you know how when you're forging, you want to keep it orange and yellow? When you're chiseling, not so much. It's just got to be hot.
Yeah.
So even though it's gone black, it's still going to be plenty quite hot.
Yeah.
But ideally, we'll get our best and most even chisel work on the heat. So you have to be quick, but you don't have to like really rush. Brush. Same process. So much easier when you've already put those divots in there. So deepen that one even further. Nice. Now go to the other one. And again, and we'll give it more heat before we do the downwards one. Nice. Give that a little bit of a scratch clean. And we might even lengthen that one up on the next heat as well.
Yeah, I agree.
close to the steel. I've got my eyes on.
Aaron asked what the two words stands for.
I'll allow Andrew to explain.
It's, I guess, yeah, an elder fruit-like rune, as Sam mentioned, and it's for the god Tyr, the god of war, justice,
And honor.
It's sacrifice and all those kind of
Yeah.
good things that a bloke should stand for.
He put his hand in Fenrir's mouth to as a show of good faith, leading to Fenrir's betrayal. Yep. Put it in there. Give it a pop. Nice, and then we'll go to the other side. Deepen that one up. And again. Yeah, that's done it. Nice. And you can maybe pull this one a little bit further this way. That is still fucking smoking hot. That's good. Now go for that center. Deepen that up while it's this temperature. And down a bit. And down a bit. Cool.
Hell yeah.
Happy with that depth, or do you want to go further?
No, I mean, that's looking pretty good. If give it a clean, I might see better. It's a rune that sadly got hijacked by the Nazis in World War II. You know, being a rune for a god of war, they were quite a fan of it. And
Just
so,
in case you didn't already have enough reasons to think that the Nazis were a bunch of bastards.
So sadly, they
Do you want
ruined
to do
it.
the honours?
Oh, sure.
Into the mank tank. Oh yeah, makes you feel like a man.
So disgusting. It's so gross.
I ask you, is there any more disgusting foul thing on the planet than a blacksmith's mank tank?
Yeah, that's coming out good. That depth is nice.
Lovely. Oh, it should be cool enough to touch now. Ooh, tongs aren't.
Tongs are hot.
Yeah, that's great. So, I'll quickly do a grind on the top. I'll drift that hole through on the drill press, and then we can do the linseed oil finish on it.
Beautiful.
So, just do that.
Where chisel and this hammer are.
Chisel lives in here.
This
Oh,
one?
grab that hammer off here. Chisel lives in there. Alright, I'll be back. I'm going to use my horrifically traditional, old school hole drifting method. Oh, there you go.
Well, they didn't have a lot to do with it. Like, none of the actual meanings they cared about, really. But we see some of the iconography get adopted. More so with, like, neo-Nazis in particular. It's the neo-Nazis that really adopted that stuff. And much to our dismay. But I guess if we gave up on, our cultural heritage every time some asshole came along, we probably wouldn't do much of anything. Covered myself in all kinds of rooms, tattoos and stuff. Slowly building up the collection. Next one I'm going to get is Hugan and Newman.
Okay, so final thing for the day is to do our boiled linseed finishes on our different things. Here's Adric's pendant that lets people know that his face is up here, and I'll have to unscrew this from a board. But here's my latch. Yeah, I know, Sam. I'm sorry, but the latch came out pretty cool in the end. If I do say so myself. But you will see the Forge World. I'm going to live stream it. Don't worry.
Baby's first Forge World.
Yeah.
What are you making?
Sam's my puppy. Sand my billet.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, have you done this before?
What's wrong?
The oil finishing.
Oh yeah, the oil. Yeah.
With the smoke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hours of fun. So we're literally just.
Is this the one that stinks to all hell, or is that?
I don't mind the smell. Most people fucking hate it.
Yeah. One of them was horrendous.
One of them smells like a Chinese restaurant, and that's the sesame oil. I really like finishing things with sesame oil.
So yeah, that smells delicious.
That just smells like you're in a Chinese fry house. But linseed oil is it's a unique smell. Thanks, Aaron. I'm really quite proud of it, to be honest. Like, it's a simple little thing. Like, it's really a nothing project, but it just came out so clean. I'm really happy with it. I can't wait to see it with the finish. So we got rag. So what you want to do basically is you want to ball up a chunk of it, tuck the ball into a smooth part, and then hold it like that.
Yeah.
Like like oiling a katana, and then you dip that in there and run it over the forge piece.
I can't say I know what oiling a katana is.
Well, you're a weeb as fuck. I don't know.
I've seen my share of anime, but
it's not as protective. It's just a different finish. Usually, if I'm going to do a sesame oil finish, I will then go over it while it's still hot and put a wax finish. Really nice for jewelry when you don't want that black forge look, but instead you want sort of like a more clean martensite look of sort of like a gunmetal grey. Now, for those who haven't seen a linseed oil finish before, you don't want the steel to be at a red heat. You want it to be just before that. So you want it to still be black, but hot as hell. There are ideal temperature ranges and things, but really, it's if it's a black heat and you'd seriously burn yourself if you touched it, that's good enough. So Sam's mocking you, by the way.
Yeah.
He is a fucking weeb. You should see some of the display photos he's put for himself on Facebook. It's just shameful.
How am I ever done weep?
So you would dip in a little dabble like this into your linseed oil, and you wipe it onto the forged piece. Careful not to leave it touching it too long, otherwise you'll burn the fabric into the steel.
Actually, no, never mind. One of my recent ones.
Yes, was weeb as fuck.
It literally is me going like that.
Yeah.
Kawaii.
Yeah, that's weeb as fuck.
Yeah, no, fair cool.
Okay, so you're going to use these ones?
Yep.
You're going to reach in there and grab it.
Yep.
And you're going to wipe, soak up some linseed oil and wipe it on. And when you're done, you can end up just throwing the rag on the floor if you want. Try not to burn yourself because the oil that gets on this is going to get hot.
Yeah.
So I'll give you that.
doesn't matter if I burn myself anyway. It's not like I need to.
Yeah, you know. Sam's still putting out videos for his channel. He's got burns. I have to start calling him Montgomery. Alright, go for it. So you want to get your oil ready first.
Yeah.
Because that thing will soak it up and hold it. Yeah, don't get burns. Sam says don't get burns. You're going to reach in there, grab it. And you're not going to be putting it back in the fire, so repositioning your grip on it, you're going to have to use a second set of tongs. I can do that for you, I'll be your assistant. So start wiping off. That's it. Show the camera. And once you've done that side, let me grab it. And then you can reposition your tongs to that side. And then wipe the other side.
Oh yeah, that stinks.
There's the smell. It just hit him.
It's disgusting. It smells like seafood to me.
I actually really love it. I don't know what it is. It's like ballistol oil. Makes Adric want to vomit, but it just feels like, it smells like home to me. Alright, so place it on the surface of the right hand anvil, and that will suck the heat out of it. And also keep it away from anything flammable. Lovely. Now, I'm going to do the same. I'm going to unscrew this from the board, and we'll do the same thing. You can be my oiler. Do the easy one first. Pow!
Got it.
Bam! With your spice weasel.
Now that's a reference. So Sam, how long have you been blacksmithing?
If you listen to our podcast, you'd absolutely know. And that reminds me, actually, to anybody watching this, myself and Sam Towns, as well as Niels Ogden, have started a blacksmithing podcast, so I'll put links to that below. Oh, he's answering you. Oh. he's making jokes.
Oh, always. Depends how oily said oily boy is.
So I'll be the grabber, you be the dabber.
You're too old to dab.
And now I'm going to skyrocket in my subs.
I'm too old to dab.
Alright, you got some fresh oil on that waffle. This is going to be a tricky one because it's got an intricate shape. Ooh, that's too hot. Cool down. Back to black. Leach that heat. Come on. It's one thing you don't want to do with putting a linseed oil finish. You don't want to do it while it's red hot. It's getting there. Now blow on it. That'll cool down. It's only like 900 degrees. There we go. Oil me up. Ooh, my oily boy. Get in there nice and deep.
The only problem is I have to stand downwind of this.
Oh, fuck, they're not tongs. There we go. Embrace the smell.
It just smells like someone has burnt seafood. Which I know because I burn it all the time in the oven.
That's not the linseed oil, I just farted in the workshop. Oh, it's burnt seafood.
Alright.
That looks like it. Beautiful. I'm a gentleman out of the line. This one's going to take up a bit of space, and it's going to be tricky because it's a dangly boy. Who would win, one dangly boy or Adric with an oiler?
Anyone can beat me. I never bet on myself to win.
What are people saying while that's heating up? Unsubbed. Alright, Aaron, thanks very much for coming by. And while you're going to bed, I'm going to try and stay awake, which I can do very well if you get me a coffee at coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks. Coffees keep me awake, boys. Thanks for popping by. Ready on oil, Rudy? Ready, boy? Go for it. Under there. Top of this hook.
Yep.
Looks about right, and we'll see any spots that need a little extra dabbing.
I don't think my knees are up to another dab. Getting old, Sam. Cool. That should do. And afterwards, once it's dry, I'll put another coat of ballistol rubbed into it, just to give it a little bit extra weatherproofing. And that is essentially that, ladies and gentlemen. We have made a couple of cool items. Adric's had his third ever day of forging. And he's gone home with a forge. He's first forged his first hammer, so now he's just got to get an anvil and a hairdryer. It's two odd things to buy at the same time. So, yeah, we'll probably leave it there. Thanks everyone for popping by to the stream. It's always a pleasure to have you swing by. Yeah, I know, Sam. I feel ya. My with the heat, and then before that my injury, I couldn't forge for the longest time. Be thankful that it's just mid next week. You know, it's maybe it's an earned holiday, a deserved holiday. Have a break from it. By the time you get in there, you'll be so raring for it that you'll really enjoy yourself. I know I did on that blacksmithing stream with the bottle opener and the hooks, which is still available on Etsy, by the way. And this gate hook will also be available on my Etsy, which will be linked in the description below. So before I head off, guys, don't forget to support me on Ko-fi. Coffee.com/Valhalla Ironworks. Kind of a long stream, but I know you guys love it. Big thanks to Adric for being here with me, and thanks to all of you for popping by and giving support to what is my humble little channel. And don't forget to go over to Sam Town's channel and give him support too, because with his busted wing, as we discussed earlier, any bit of help that you can send his way, I'm sure will be greatly appreciated. So, thanks again.
I just subscribed to him.
Oh, look, Adric subscribed to me, so no excuse for you guys. Anyway, I will catch you on the next live stream, which will be reconditioning my forge blower. Which should be interesting if you've ever wanted to see what's inside of a forge blower. They're pretty cool pieces of machinery, in my humblest of opinions. So thanks again for being here, and I'll talk to you guys again.